to my channel. So hope you are enjoying the Python skill series so far. So in today's video we'll be understanding a concept in Python 3 that is called as duck typing. So from the thumbnail itself you might have understand what the topic is. So I'll just basically write it down, that is duck typing. Now, before understanding what is duck typing, we need to understand what are type systems. So let's classify type systems. So type systems are classified in three types. So first is static typing, then you have dynamic typing, and then you have this duck typing. Now, first and foremost, let me give some examples for static typing. So, static typing, if you know programming languages like C, then C++, Java, these are called as statically typed languages. Then for dynamically typed, we have Perl, Ruby, and now Python. So, uh, to exhibit duck typing, that is, to be a language to be called as duck typing, first it should satisfy dynamic typing. We are not considering about static typing in this. So I'll make you understand first what is static typing. So in programming languages like C and C++ or in Java, what you do is, especially let's take an example of Java. So I'll just write here. So in Java, whenever you want to define a variable, say like I'll write string and say a variable is a. So this is called as declaration. So by this line, the Java compiler will understand that in the memory block, there is going to be a variable whose name is a and whose data type is string. So obviously we'll assign some string values, but instead if we assign a value like say a is equal to 10, then what happens is it will throw an error, and this thing is called as definition. So here what you did is you declared a variable and here you initialized. So you are defining that value of a is an integer, but here what you just said is it is of string type. So these are two incompatible types that are happening in this programming languages, so obviously it will throw some error. So static typing usually is happened at the compile time. So in Java or C++, first the compilation happens. So the byte class or byte code will be produced in Java, or in C you have the linking, loading, and compiling stuffs like this. So the same thing is done at the compile time. So that's why first you need to compile this, because first it will check what is the type of this and then what are you doing after this. So it will all execute one after another. So in that case, or in static typing, you can't do these things. So these things are not permitted. So this is all related to static typing. Now what we need to understand is dynamic typing. So I'll just go to the Python shell in order to make you understand. So first what I do is I take or assign a variable like this. So now the value 10 is of string class and I'm assigning it to a variable a. So now if I check the type of a, it is of class string. Now what I do is I write this thing. So just remember, originally a was like this. So we have a here, it had value a string 10. Now what I'm doing is I'm assigning it to 10. Okay, and now I check the type of a and see it has changed to int. So without throwing error, it is internally doing this. So essentially in dynamic typing, the type checking happens at runtime as opposed to compile time. Runtime, why? Because you are running this particular line of code and then you are getting this. So if I want to diagrammatically show this, this particular reference got cancelled and it is now referring to an integer address or integer memory block. So this thing we have discussed in memory management and garbage collection. So the same thing is happening here. And let me give you one more example of this. Uh, so I'll basically define a function. So this is an adder function and it takes two variables and an m and it returns n plus m. It is as simple as that. Okay. Now here what I do is to this adder function I'm doing the function call. So first I'm passing 12 and 12. It will give you 24, right? Then I call adder again and I pass two strings like this. So see, when we give the input to adder function two integers, it identified the type of these two variables, that is n and m, at runtime. It understood those are of integer types and then it added those two. We did not get a concatenated value. Mind you, we got an integer value, that is 24, which should be the ideal operation that we are expecting that the adder function should do in this case. And when we passed two string values to adder function, what or how it behaved is it behaved as a concatenator. So when it encountered two strings, it basically concatenated these two and we got one string, that is Golang. So it is perfectly working or it is showing the behavior that it is dynamically typed. So this is what we call as dynamic typing. Now let us come on to duck typing. So I've considered a very interesting and fun example. So you all know these are Pokemons. So if you know or from your childhood, if you remember about Pokemons and things like that, you know about the different types of Pokemon. So this is Pikachu, this is Bulbasaur, this is Squirtle, this is Charmander, then this is Snorlax, and this is Jigglypuff, I guess. I don't quite well remember about the names, but I'm sure that it's right. Yeah, so I was telling like each of this particular Pokemons have different capabilities or they have a different type. So this particular Pikachu is of electric type. This Bulbasaur is of grass type. Then this Squirtle is of water type. Then this Charmander is of fire type. And this, I don't know, it's normal, I guess. Normal. And this is singing. So she basically sings very well. Okay, so each of these Pokemons have their own capability and ability uh, to work or to show like what they are capable of. Okay, so we can classify or we can put them into different categories. Like in electric category we have different types of other Pokemons, also in grass type we have different Pokemons, in water type. So this there are basically different categories of Pokemon that we have, and they exhibit certain functionality, and they are some or the other way different, but also they have something in common. So other Pokemons which have electric type, so they are having the same base type, so they are electric type, but then they have additional functionalities, like some are fighting or some make swim or like that. So there are different classes of this. So one base thing is they have one base functionality and then they have additional functionality. So now I'll give one more example. So this thing what you see here, that is on the left hand side, this is called as a duck, that we all know. So this is a duck, right? And on the right hand side what we have is, we again have a picture of duck. So it is not a real duck, but it can be considered as a toy duck. And before that, this real world duck can swim, it can fly sometimes, and it can walk also. So these three things are exhibited by this real world duck. Now consider this duck as a toy duck, okay, which can be put onto the bathtub like that. So this can also, or if you just put a key to this and this will operate, so it can also swim. And if you put this toy onto water, it can swim, then it can fly, say it is remote controlled, and you can make it walk also, that is not a issue. So this toy duck can also give functionalities of what the original duck can provide. So these are the base features by which you distinguish a duck. So the same thing you expect that from a toy also. This thing here, this is another Pokemon, so this is called as Psyduck. If you don't know about these things, just leave it, just for a fun interesting way of understanding what is duck typing. I'm basically narrating this. So this particular Pokemon can also swim, and it can also fly, and it can walk, okay. And this thing here, now this thing is a human being, so he is disguised as a duck. So he has kept a mask or helmet or something kind of that of duck. He's in a fancy dress competition, considered in that way. uh, if he has his own ability, but human beings can do swimming, right? So he can do swimming, he can walk, okay. And I would say the fly is more or less uh, can be sometimes done, because you have to attach wings then only fly. So human beings don't have the ability to fly, but this is like we can cancel this. So, or more or less, you can consider fly also, that is not a thing that we can neglect, but some or the other way, if we attach some wings, we can fly basically to some extent. So what happened is, like, the real world duck has these all three abilities, but these three things which are man-made or which are fictional can also perform the same ability. So what duck typing essentially means, or what is the definition of duck typing? So duck typing means that any particular object is defined by what it can do and not by what it does. So if you remember about this particular phrase, like I'll just write here. that don't judge a book by its cover. So that thing holds here. So whenever you read a book, you should go into the contents of that book and not just by looking at the cover page of that book. It may sometimes attractive and it may sometimes may not be attractive. So unless and until you read the book, you don't get how powerful or how insightful that particular book is. So similar is the case with the duck typing. So just by looking at this particular example, or just by considering like this is just a toy, whether it can swim or not, or whether this is a Pokemon, it can swim or not, or just a human being, it can swim or not. That doesn't qualify this for being a duck. This is like a 100% duck, you can say, a real world entity. This can exhibit 99.99%. Obviously, this is not a real world thing, but it can do it. But this thing can also 99.99%. Even the human being can also do it to some level. Okay, these things may not have the complete form of this original duck, but it can somehow exhibit its functionalities. So in duck typing, the similar thing is followed. So we don't look at the object, but what the object can actually do, whether it can mimic or not. So I'll give you one more simple example. So consider some famous personalities there, some uh, Hollywood or Bollywood superstar is there, and there are other people who does the mimicry of that particular person. So they basically can imitate the person's voice, or they can do the walking style or other mannerisms, other behavior, way of talking, expressions, and things like that. So the person who is doing the mimicry of this Bollywood or Hollywood superstar, these guys are some or the other way they are related to this. So what this real superstar can do, this mimicry artist can also do the same thing, but not completely. Obviously, when you are copying some person, you cannot do it 100% correctly, but some other way you can relate to that particular person. So you can just exhibit that. So that essentially is the gist of what is meant by duck typing. Okay, so for understanding the duck typing in the context of uh, Python, let's understand with the help of a program. Okay, okay, so I have basically considered two different programs to do this. So first code is I have a class that is duck typing, and inside this class I have a method whose name is length. Now this is not a normal method that we saw in other videos like foo, bar, like that. So this has special syntax of writing. So as how you write the init init method, it has the same syntax. So the name of that is length. It takes the self parameter that is by default and it returns something. So it returns a value 21. Now if you want to run this kind of or these types of problems, what you need to do is you need to write a driver's code. So this is called as driver code, or you are instructing the user of how to run this particular code. So in that you write a syntax like if the name is equal to main, so name of that function, so this is the main function from where the program execution begins, so that is meant by this particular syntax, and that is a if statement. If this condition is true, so what happens is you create an object of this particular class, that is I'm naming it as string, or in fact I'll just call it as obj. And what I'm doing is I'm just printing the length of this, and if I just go ahead and run this, I'll get 21. Now what happened, you might have seen something fishy, right? Yeah. So if you know, like normal, if you write a string, or say if I assign s, and if I write string, and if I type the length of s, here it is 6 because string has 6 different characters. But here, just look at the code. What we are doing is we are not having a variable. Instead, we have an object of the duck typing class, and we are just calling the length object. So this is here is not behaving as a function, the ordinary function, because uh, if you know here, if you just saw, like it will return the length of that particular string, or how many characters are contained in that. But whenever you are writing like this, it is calling the length function here, which is there inside the duck typing class, and it is returning that particular integer whatever is written there. So this can be essentially considered as the way how the length function works. So in object, since object is empty, you are not putting any value inside object, you are just calling the length function. It is returning the value 21. So that is dynamically typed. Or like, even if you call this length function, what do you think what happens internally? Internally there will be a length function like this, which takes the string which you gave here, and it will return the dynamic value of that, whatever length of the string you are going to put. So that's basically a dynamic typing. So Python is essentially a dynamic typing. So if you didn't understand this code also, I have one more interesting example that is coming up, so which is there down. So I will be sure after this you won't have any doubts in duck typing. Okay, and I guess I have one more down the line. Should have one more double quotes. Yes. Okay. So what I do here is I create class of Pokemons. So first I have a class Pikachu, and inside that I am defining the abilities that Pikachu can do. So Pikachu can fly. So it is taking a self parameter, and I'm printing Pikachu can fly. Then Pikachu is also an electric Pokemon. So again self parameter, and I'm printing thunder defense. So it has the ability to attack its opponent by thunderbolt and so on. And then I have a class Squirtle. So inside this I again have the ability that Squirtle can also fly, water attack, and the other function that the type of Squirtle, the Pokemon type is water. So it will squirt water as a defense mechanism. And then I have a class Snorlax, and this Pokemon just only sleeps. So I'm printing giant sleeps only. So now what happens is when I want to invoke this particular all methods, and I'm interested in Pokemons that can only fly. So what I do is I write a for loop, and just don't get worried about what this particular underscore is. If we have understood, or if we saw the videos on data hiding and all, we know like this is just considered as a variable. So you can put any value here, obj, I, a, b, c, d, any name. So this is just another variable, just don't get worried about that. And what we are doing is we are doing a function call, or call to the class. So constructor, this is basically a constructor of the Pikachu class, constructor of the Squirtle class, and constructor of Snorlax class. And from inside this I want to invoke the fly method. So upon the execution of this program, whichever class has the fly method, that fly method will get executed, and whatever print statement is there, it will be printed basically onto the console. So if you are okay with this, then I'll just run this, and you can see, so it just printed only two print statements. So Pikachu can fly, and Squirtle can fly. Why? Because only these two classes had the fly method, and for Snorlax, for this class, it threw an attribute error saying that Snorlax object has no attribute fly. So this essentially is an odd man which is there inside this. Why? Because just being an object or just being Snorlax, it cannot fly, because these Pokemons, they don't have the base functionality like the type, generic type, but instead they can fly also. So if you just consider this only Pokemon, this is not a flying Pokemon, but it can fly, it has the ability to fly. Okay, so that's basically all about the duck typing. And just one more example, in like common human beings, when we look at some particular person, so just by looking at a person, somebody will say like he doesn't looks like a developer, right? Or he doesn't looks like a data scientist or like that. Just by looking at the physical characteristic of one particular person, we just judge them on some basic grounds. But when we understand the ability of that particular person, like he can do coding, then he can do other stuffs, like some may be exceptional, like so there are different abilities of a person. So just by looking at the person, we can't just draw a line like this person is going to be like this. So duck typing is all about that. The object does not serve, or the name of the object has no uh, importance. Just what it does, or what is the ability of that object, that basically defines that particular function. So someone has said like, what's kept in a name? Everything lies with the work or the activity that do, or that you do. So that is basically the duck typing concept. It's not a very hi-fi or like booming concept, but just this is a simple thing. Just keep it as it is, that is duck typing. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found you got educated about this video, please do like, share, comment, and if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching this video.